for CGI. 30 years ago, it was just an ink drawing. Now, I'm guessing that a lot of you haven't heard of Dave Allen. Hands up, who hasn't heard of Dave Allen? More than half of you. I thought so. Well, never mind about that. Just remember how to spell his name. A-L-L-E-N. And look him up on YouTube. Please watch a couple of clips for each decade of his life. He lived to his late 80s. He died a few years ago now. And in my opinion, he was the funniest, handsomest, sexiest person ever on television. And he never ran out of stories. Now, what makes Dave Allen so special for me was that he pretty well, this is vodka by the way, he drank whiskey. I can't do the whiskey. He broke pretty well all the rules. Now, I'm not suggesting you break all the rules. There is one rule you must never ever break. He sat on a bar stool. Now, I would like to do that for you, but I would need help getting up and getting down, so I can't do that. He drank constantly. Drank whiskey all the way through. He smoked constantly, all the way through. I'm going to try and do that because he paused for pauses as long as that, and I'm not very good at pauses. The thing that I'm really good at is he looked at the floor a lot. He was forever looking at the floor while he told a story, while he was thinking, and we're always told not to do that. This is all about finding your own style, not just doing what you're told and not being a Toastmasters alone. The other thing he did was, as I said, he smoked, he drank, and he swore. I'm going to, if I don't run out of time, I'm going to say a little swear word at the end, because I'm trying to be Dave Allen. And the other thing he did was, hard to do this with drink and a cigarette, but he groomed himself constantly. He had a finger missing, and he kept showing us his missing finger. He groomed, he fiddled with his ring, he fiddled with his tie, he fiddled with his hair. He just did everything that we're not supposed to do, and he was as funny as a person you can imagine. So I'm going to explain his humour by telling you 3 of his best stories. There are thousands of them, can't really pick them out. But they are basically innocent stories, and then they are sex and religion, the taboo thing. We're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it tonight. Now, the rough rule in Toastmasters is you can send up any group of people. Nobody is out of bounds, as long as you're a member of the club. Now, we're all a member of the sex club, aren't we? So I can do that. I'm definitely a Catholic, or a kind of was once, so I can definitely do that. And I've got an Irish grandmother, so I can do that too. So to give you an example of innocence, he loved, gosh, I'm going to lose the plot here, aren't I? Oh yes, he loved the way English people would walk into a pub and see an empty chair and find the nearest person and say, is there anyone sitting in that chair? I mean, we all do that, don't we? And he loved stupid signs. I think the funniest stupid sign possible is ears pierced while you wait. While you wait. Don't you get that? I mean, you can't run away while it's being done, can you? And then there's the people who, when a coffin is going through the street in Ireland, apparently this happens all the time, people say, who's in the coffin? And somebody will say, a dead person. And then there's the lovely Irishman who's in London and he wants to go back to Dublin because he's had enough and he's 50p short. So wherever you go to get to Dublin, I don't know, King's Cross, he's standing there at the ticket office and he's turning to a stupid English person behind him and says, can you give me 50p to get to Ireland? The English person says, here's a quid, please take a friend. So, the innocent joke is there's a man walking, an Irishman obviously, he's walking along Pall Mall with a penguin on a string. And a policeman comes up to him and says, what's he doing? And he says, I don't know, I've only just found him. And the policeman says, well, I think you should take him to the zoo. So he says, okay, I'll do that. So he goes off to the zoo. The next day, the same bloke is walking along with the penguin, same penguin on the same bit of string, down Pall Mall, and he bumps into the same policeman again. And the policeman says, I thought I told you to take that penguin to the zoo. And he says, I did. He loved it. Today I'm taking him to the library. Now, I've got to do a pause, haven't I? Yeah, it's the right way around. I'm going to do a Dave Allen pause. I'm not very good at pauses. I can't do that. On to the next joke. The next joke is Catholics and sex. I'm going to do that all in one go, otherwise I'm going to run out of time. So this is about 2 Catholic priests, very, very trendy and what's the of the moment zeitgeisty. Two Catholic priests decide to go on holiday to a hot country, probably Portugal, somewhere like that. And they're off duty. They want to do whatever they want. They want to be really naughty because they are Catholic priests. So they get the most ridiculous garb on the beach. God knows what they're wearing, but they don't look a bit like priests. And they're sitting there sunbathing, watching the world go by. And this gorgeous, sexy young woman comes along with a minuscule little bikini and says, "Morning, fathers, morning, fathers," and rushes off. And they think, "Oh God, how does she know we were priests?" We've obviously not tried hard enough, so they go down to town and they buy more way-out sunglasses, more way-out hats, and whatever stupid garb they've got on. They sit down on the beach again, and this same pretty young thing comes floating by and says, morning, fathers, you're tanning up nicely." And she starts to go off, and they say, "Hey, just a minute, it's just driving us mad. How on earth do you know we're priests?" And she says, "I'm Sister Agatha." The next joke, I think, I hope I've got time for this, because I've got a personal one at the end, which I want to get in. Do you know what the Holy Trinity is? It's the basic tenet of the Catholic Church. God the Father, who's the old man sitting on the clouds, who decides to answer our prayers, or decides when people who should die before they're ready to die. Then there's God the Son, that's Jesus. He's a real historical character that died a long time ago. And there's the Holy Ghost, which is everything that we don't understand. It's very important. You have to understand this or you won't get the joke. So the joke is, there's a little church in Ireland that's roof is leaking, and the congregation is nearly empty. So the priest imports this very funny bloke from I don't know, California, who's really good at pulling in the crowds. So he pulls in the crowds on the first Sunday, and they get tons of money for the church roof. And the bishop comes up to him afterwards and says, "You were absolutely brilliant. You brought in so much money. But do you think you could just do one thing when you do it next Sunday? Can you please not call the Holy Trinity Big Daddy, the Kid, and Spooky? Because it upsets people." I better stop there. You missed the private joke, sorry.